24 hours with regards to the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi. What do you make of where the U.S.-Saudi relationship is right now?
Well, not great. I think it's good the president sent the Secretary of State out to talk to the king. And we need to find out first what happened before deciding what kind of response is appropriate.
But you do think there will be some type of response if these allegations are true?
I can't imagine there won't be, but I think we need to find out what happened.
And just final question on this issue, specifically with some of the Republicans in your party, including Senator Bob Corker of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, have called on the usage of the Magnitsky Act. Do you think this is an appropriate mechanism to use?
It may well be. Let's find out what happened.
Okay. With regards to 21 days from now, the midterm elections, we saw that the Justice Kavanaugh confirmation has completely captivated the nation for different reasons for different people, but I'm sure you've got your eye on red state Democrats. How do you think that has specifically changed the contours of this race?
Well, it certainly energized our voters. They followed it very carefully, like everyone else in America. We knew the Democrats were already excited about this election, but I think now our people are as well. And in the cliffhanger races we have, like Arizona, Nevada, Montana, North Dakota, Missouri, Indiana, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Florida, I think it's been like a shot of adrenaline to Republican voters, and hopefully we can match the Democrats in enthusiasm going into this midterm election.
And that matters in terms of the majority, because if you look at some of the numbers for how the majority has impacted nominations, especially cloture numbers, I mean, I was talking with some of your aides, and 119 cloture votes that the president or that you've had to call during the president's first 2 years in office. Former President Obama had 12, and I think W had something like 6. So how has that impacted specifically your strategy?
Well, they've slow walked,
yeah,
but they can't stop because we can do with a simple majority. We won all those cloture votes. They've slow walked, but if we were to lose the Senate, for example, I think the Democrats would go from slow walking to no confirmations at all of judges, which would have a huge impact on the last 2 years of the Trump administration.
And that's for the next Congress to some extent, but in the lame duck, you've got some judicial appointees that you'd like to see get confirmed. What else is on the agenda for the lame duck?
Yeah, we've done 84 judges. We're going to finish the ones that are out on the Senate calendar, on the floor of the Senate, before the end of the year. We need to fund the government, the 25% of the government we didn't fund before the end of the fiscal year. That'll be the top priority.
And the wall comes into play there. The border wall, the funding for the border wall.
Yeah, and we're going to try to help the president get funding for the wall. The Democrats are pretty resistant. That'll be an interesting fight. For
about how long do you funding are you anticipating to get for the wall?
Well, for the next year would be what we would be trying to achieve.
And what else do you hope to get done in the lame duck?
Well, I don't know. There's a possibility of some kind of sentencing reform legislation. We'll take a look at that. If we have more than 60 senators on a bipartisan basis who want to do that, we'll take a look at that. There may be a few other items. We need to finish the Farm Bill, for example. Really important to do that. That'll have to get done before the end of the year. So that'll take plenty of time, which is what I covered during that few moments.
I have to ask you about the national debt. $21 trillion, the deficit $779 billion. Some predicting that could reach $1 trillion in 2019. What's going on with the debt?
It's very disturbing, and it's driven by the 3 big entitlement programs that are very popular: Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid. That's 70% of what we spend every year. The subject we were just discussing, the funding of the government, is about 30% of what we spend. There's been a bipartisan reluctance to tackle entitlement changes because of the popularity of those programs. Hopefully, at some point here, we'll get serious about this. We haven't been yet.
And it would appear, if you kind of look at the tea leaves, that divided government might actually yield to entitlement reform, or at least make it easier.
Well, we had that opportunity during the Obama years, and I talked to President Obama about it a number of times. It would have been the perfect time to do it. Think of Reagan and Tip O'Neill coming together in the early 80s to raise the age for Social Security. It took it out of the political arena and made it possible for it to be successful. That's what we had the chance to do during the Obama years, because we had divided government for 6 of his 8 years. Unfortunately, it was not achieved.
The president, meanwhile, has been negotiating trade deals, USMCA or NAFTA 2.0. Do you anticipate any gridlock at all in terms of getting NAFTA 2.0 over the finish line?
Well, I hope we can. That'll be a next year issue because the process we have to go through doesn't allow that to come up before the end of this year.
With regards to China, I mean, the president has really aggressively been negotiating with China. Some Republicans have actually introduced legislation to rein in some of his negotiation power. Do you have any concerns about how the president has negotiated with China on things like imposing tariffs?
Well, the president's not going to sign bills that reduce his power in trade, so that's kind of a waste of time. Yeah. I hope he's successful with China. We've had a big problem with China. They've been eating our lunch for years, stealing our intellectual property. I wish him well on China because I think that's our biggest trade problem.
And what do you think the ending point looks like for regards to trade negotiation with China? What's the end goal?
I'm waiting. You know, the administration has all the ball control on trade. When the president comes to some kind of understanding with China, it probably will have to come to us. It's bound to be an improvement over the status quo.
You know, the last time you were here, you said that there could be a little less drama with the White House. So how's the drama playing out with President Trump and with the Congress and with you personally?
Well, there's been no less drama, but it's been an extraordinarily successful Congress. I mean, all the things that have been on Republicans' wish list for many years have just about been done. Everything from tax reform to regulatory reform, 2 Supreme Court justices, 84 lifetime appointments to the courts. It's been a terrific period. If you like America right of center, and obviously that's what I prefer.